Honey, the oldest sweetener in the world. Cave paintings show that humans were harvesting it thousands of years ago. Natural. Pure. Timeless. Now look at the cereal box in your kitchen. The one with the bear on it. The one that says made with real honey in warm, golden tones. Is that honey? Or just a marketing prop? The real ingredient doing the work isn't honey. It's a precisely engineered combination of refined sugar, malt flavoring, and oat coating technology, designed in a laboratory to make you, and more importantly, your child, physiologically incapable of stopping at just one bowl. General Mills didn't discover Honey Nut Cheerios. They constructed it. And that word honey on the box? It took decades of regulatory pressure, 2 class action lawsuits, and a congressional hearing before anyone admitted how little honey was actually in it. This is not a cereal story. This is the story of how one of the largest food corporations in American history used the oldest sweetener on earth as a disguise, and sold addiction in a yellow box. General Mills launches Cheerios. Originally called Cheeriots. The pitch was simple. A whole grain oat cereal. Heart healthy. Low in sugar. Something a doctor might genuinely recommend. It worked. By the late 1940s, Cheerios was the best-selling cold cereal in America. Not because of a gimmick, but because oats had real nutritional credibility. But General Mills had a problem. Plain Cheerios wasn't exciting. Children didn't crave it. Parents didn't buy it out of desire, but out of obligation. Throughout the 1960s, repeat purchase rates among households with young children were declining. The food industry had already found the solution. Sugar. In 1964, during the same decade that saw the rise of Fruit Loops, Cap'n Crunch, and Lucky Charms, General Mills realized something critical. Sugar wasn't just an ingredient, it was a mechanism for repeat purchase behavior. Internal consumer research later revealed in FTC filings showed that children who consumed high-sugar cereals had stronger brand recall, made more frequent consumption requests, and selected those products more often in stores. In other words, sugar made children pressure their parents harder at the grocery store. That wasn't a side effect. It was a strategy. General Mills product developer Yondell Henderson begins working on a new flavor extension for the Cheerios line. The brief was clear: create a sweetened version of Cheerios, but do not position it as a sugar cereal. Sugar cereals were under regulatory scrutiny. The FTC was investigating advertising aimed at children. A product openly built around sugar was a liability. So they turned to honey. Honey carried cultural weight that refined sugar did not. It was ancient, natural, associated with health, tradition, and purity. The resulting formula was calculated. Honey Nut Cheerios did contain real honey, but in nutritionally insignificant amounts. The primary sweetener was refined sugar. The nut flavor didn't come from actual nuts, but from natural almond flavoring derived from peach and apricot pits, a compound that mimicked nuttiness while avoiding allergen disclosure. Honey was window dressing. The name was the product. When Honey Nut Cheerios launched in 1979, the front of the box featured a cartoon bee named Buzz Bee surrounded by golden honeycomb imagery. The color palette was warm amber and yellow. Every visual cue signaled natural, wholesome, farm-sourced. The actual sugar content was higher than a glazed donut by weight per serving. That information appeared nowhere on the front of the box. Here is the chemistry General Mills never advertised. Oats naturally have a mild, slightly bitter flavor. Antioxidant compounds called avenanthramides create a faint astringency. To reduce this, a heat extrusion process is applied, gelatinizing the starch and lowering bitterness. The result is a neutral, slightly sweet base. Then comes the coating system. Honey Nut Cheerios uses a rotating drum to apply a sugar and honey coating. This creates a microcrystalline shell on the surface, producing a distinct crunch on the first bite. This is not incidental. Research shows that louder, crisper sounds increase perceived freshness and enjoyment. Even the sound is engineered. The almond flavoring, benzaldehyde, is associated with warmth and comfort. It's used in baked goods for the same reason. People report feelings of nostalgia and safety when exposed to it. Sugar coating plus crunch plus aroma equals what food scientists call a complete sensory package. Honey. Irrelevant to the engineering, critical to the label. General Mills understood something fundamental in the 1970s and 1980s. The consumer was the child. The customer was the parent. And the child controlled the purchase decision. Their advertising strategy was built entirely on this dynamic. Buzz B was deliberately designed. Large eyes, round head, high-pitched voice. Features that trigger nurturing instincts in adults and identification in children. In the 1980s, millions of dollars were spent on Saturday morning cartoon ads. Every commercial was tested on child panels. The goal wasn't just sales. It was pester power, the ability of children to repeatedly pressure their parents into buying a product. Internally, this had a name, the nag factor. They measured manipulation. They optimized it. In 1977, the FTC began investigating advertising of high-sugar cereals to children, the KidVid proceedings. The goal was radical: ban such advertising to children under 8. The industry pushed back hard. General Mills, Kellogg's, and Post launched massive lobbying campaigns. The phrase "part of a balanced breakfast" emerged during this period as a legal defense. By 1981, the regulation was defeated. Meanwhile, the "made with real honey" claim was also challenged. The company's defense was precise. No quantity was specified. Technically, it was true. FDA ruled in favor of General Mills. The label remained. Until 2012, 33 years later, there was no meaningful reduction in sugar content. And the label never changed. By 2012, Honey Nut Cheerios became the best-selling cereal in America. This was a long-term strategy. Plain Cheerios carried the healthy image, and that image extended across the entire brand. In marketing, this is called the halo effect. The yellow box next to the white box. Same brand. Same trust. Parents shifted without realizing it. The word honey did exactly what it was designed to do. Honey Nut Cheerios is not just a product. It is the result of a system. Sugar Association spent decades funding and shaping research. Documents published in 2016 revealed that in the 1960s, the sugar industry shifted scientific blame from sugar to fat. The result: low fat, high sugar equals healthy perception. Honey Nut Cheerios fit perfectly into that narrative. American Heart Association even allowed its endorsement mark on the product for a period. But that mark did not evaluate total sugar content. A product could contain more sugar than a chocolate chip cookie and still receive it. Yes, it contains real honey. Yes, it contains real oats. But what's inside that yellow box is not a health food with a pleasant taste. It is an engineered craving system wrapped in the visual language of a beehive. The word honey was chosen for the parent. The cartoon bee was designed for the child. The ads targeted behavioral vulnerabilities. The regulatory battles were fought not for the recipe, but for the label. Someone made something because they were hungry in Alaska. General Mills made something because it wanted to grow. That difference is the difference between food and product. Honey Nut Cheerios is one of the most successful products in American food history. And that success has almost nothing to do with honey. Every bowl is the result of decades of neuroscience, regulatory strategy, and mascot engineering working together. The bear on the box is smiling. Now you know why. Let us know in the comments what we should cover next. Thanks for watching.